Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show with the Squad. It's Ice Water and Puma. Black is out at an event, so we're going to roll without him this episode. But let's go to the NFL. Super Bowl set, bro. It's Kansas City Chiefs against the Philadelphia Eagles. I thought it was going to be the Washington Commanders because when Jalen Hurts was, limping last week, I'm like, ain't no way this brother can come back and quarterback this team, and they can't rely on the backup. So I'm thinking, you know, this has got to be the end for Philly right here. But right out the box, you got Saquon Barkley just running all over the field like he playing pee wee football. And I kept telling people who were asking me on Saturday about the Kansas City Chiefs. It seemed like when you win, the more you win, the more people hate you. And I ain't got that hate for the Kansas City Chiefs, but they're like, oh, Buffalo going to take them out. I said, Buffalo can't beat them in the playoffs. They've never been able to beat them in the playoffs. They can beat them all regular season. They can play them twice a season. They can win the regular season, but it's somewhere down the road. And I got to think it's the coach that I felt that Buffalo got a little tight towards the end of the game. Like, okay, we're close, but, oh no, that guy's going to get the ball back. And they wouldn't continue to run the ball with Cook. And I thought that was one of the worst decisions that they could have made because Cook was running all over Kansas City. They couldn't stop him. And they weren't giving the ball to their playmakers. They weren't. Samuel and Cook were the guys who were making the plays, but Buffalo just shied away from them. Your thoughts about the game yesterday?
Start with Philadelphia, Washington. Kudos to Washington for a hell of a season, right? But I think as we got into the game, the atmosphere and the environment just became a little bit bigger for them. Quarterback did well, did all they could do, but you had to have the defense. Collectively, they just didn't do well on defense. And as you mentioned, Jalen Hurts came to play. So he was hitting Brown all day, but he was also running. So it was not like an issue. So they were doing the things that caused problems for Washington. And the defense just could not do enough to stop them. Every time you turn around, something was going on. And then also turnovers and plays and whatnot, things were happening. And you could not afford to keep turning the ball over and giving them other opportunities. I mean, think about it, they scored 55 points yesterday.
Yeah, I thought
And
the turnovers were just, I
yeah.
mean, you cannot turn the ball over in the playoffs. I can see one. But when you
Mhm.
go into 2 and 3 and 4, it's like you're not going to win. You that's too much to overcome at that particular point.
And I think I agree with that. I think that's what I mean collectively as a team, as a unit. It might have been the experience might have been a little bit big for them. They had the amazing game against Detroit, and now trying to come back, and maybe it was just too much, and maybe they can build up on it and go from there. But I felt it was a little bit too much for them at that point, and then you could see them just not having what it took to make that comeback. The other game, Kansas City Buffalo. What can we say? I mean, I was telling somebody today. I was at the gym. I said the one thing in Josh Allen has down is that defeater's handshake at the end of the game when he shake 6 times, bro. Six
So,
times. He's been in the league 6 years. They've been in the playoffs 6 times. Lost to Kansas City 4 times. Lost to the Bengals once. I mean, and then it just go on and on. And for the point of, I think that you said it's the coach, but I think it's a mindset because as much as they want to give Josh Allen credit for carrying them and helping the team, you just need other people to help too. Because you think about that 6 times, lost to Kansas City 4 times, lost to the Bengals once. They just can't get over the hump. And it's one of them things that they had opportunities to close the game. And even when the last play, he throws it up and the guy drops the ball, everybody's like,
yeah, felt like why right?
yeah, again.
Again.
And it's one of the things that you scored all those points, you scored at the right time, and then it's almost you went into that shutdown mode to go, we got to do something to make sure they don't have enough time.
Yeah.
And Mahomes, I need 10 seconds. I need, so you have to do what you need to do I think that they squandered a few opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
You had to be up on them. You got to be up 2 touchdowns. You have to use the time of possession, but you also have to use bigger plays to score more points to win the game. And the one thing about Mahomes, I told you guys earlier in the season, they're getting healthy. Not only are they getting healthy, they are healthy. So the defense carrying them a little bit. But yesterday, Mahomes threw to 8 different receivers.
Yeah.
Kelce only caught 2 passes.
Yeah.
Mahomes threw 1 touchdown, but he ran. And that's what they do. Great quarterbacks like him make adjustments to do what they have to do. You have Worthy caught more passes than anybody, and he's supposed to be like the fourth option. And you have other guys that are hungry, right? You have Hopkins. And one last thing on this point, which lets you know they're healthy and they have depth. When Pacheco comes back, he's the #1 back.
Yeah.
He carried the ball like 4 times. Hunt carried the ball 12 times. So that 1-2 interchangeable thing, or who's hot, or maybe he's still hurt, Pacheco, they want to save him for the Super Bowl, whatever it may be. But the collective unit that they have provides versatility and lets Andy Reid do what he wants to do. And that's why they have reached this point and are headed to the Super Bowl.
We didn't get a chance to talk about this last week because we did a special show that's going to be airing. We're going to be putting on our YouTube page about the NBA and college basketball. But I want to go back to Baltimore. And here you have, and this is why I have a bone to pick with Harbaugh, because you got a dual threat quarterback that you won't let be a dual threat in the game where you really need it. And so I didn't think that Lamar ran enough. You saw Mahomes run. You saw Josh Allen run. You saw Jalen Daniels run when he needed to run. These are dual quarterbacks. This is the quarterback of the present day at this particular point. And you're trying to get Lamar to pass in the pocket, hand the ball off to Henry. When all season you've been letting Henry take off the first quarter, and then you will put him in. I remember the game before, they had Lamar Jackson running like 3 or 4 times in a row. And it takes a defensive guy to spy on him, and that's one less defensive guy you got to worry about. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why Baltimore wasn't going with that. And Detroit was, to me, one of the biggest disappointments because I know you have injuries, and I know you've been limping and all this other stuff, but I felt it was their Super Bowl to lose at this particular point, and they followed suit. They lost it. They could not stop Washington. For whatever reason, they could not stop it. And I was saying this to Black yesterday, is that there was no way, if I was the Jets, I would hire that defense coordinator after what I saw him doing that last game with Detroit. He wouldn't even be considered. I know your brother and all that stuff. I wouldn't even consider him as a coach, because if you put a defense out there like that and you can't stop a team with a rookie quarterback, there's no way you can coach my football team. Your thoughts, man?
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, but like you said, I thought it was Detroit's year as well. So now the question is, what's next? You lost your offensive coordinator, you lost your defensive coordinator, you lost some other people. So what do? It was their opportunity, and I understand about the injuries, but the writing was on the wall. It's not a rebuild, but you got an older quarterback that had a tough game as well. And there's a lot of questions to be answered in Detroit, and we'll see if they keep that same flavor. But in regards to Baltimore, and I know Lamar Jackson won his third MVP, right?
I'm not sure. I didn't hear the news.
I think he's probably going to. I think he might have won it or whatever. But if he had an MVP season, and I understand about Harbaugh and the dual threat and letting him run, but I still contend, and I said this before, so I guess I'm repeating myself. They need more receivers.
Mm.
They do. Flowers, yeah, okay. And then, of course, his mainstay, tight end, right? But you need more guys. Patrick Holmes has even dudes that are older. I mean, you went out and get a couple older dudes. You need more guys that can make plays. Then you can tell me, oh, Jackson is struggling. It's Jackson's fault. But you need more guys. You got Henry, and you get Henry and a couple other receivers that want to be contenders or want to play on that level, even if they're not the best guys, but they can catch the ball. You got this was a year. We say that for the last how many years? Same way with Buffalo. Buffalo the year before, you had them at home. Kansas City, that is. You have to start progressing. And I don't know, Baltimore, you just have to get more receivers because as much as you want Jackson to run and, like you say, be versatile, it helps when you have more weapons to throw the ball to instead of just one tight end and maybe one other guy.
Okay, we're going to get off NFL football, but my quick hitter, I want to know. I'm going to be asking a question about who did you think the team that hired the coach that's going to make the biggest impact for that team? It was save that for later. But let's get to college football. We didn't talk about it. We weren't on the air last week. The Ohio State Buckeyes win the national championship. And at first, when I first saw the first drive in Notre Dame, here's what I thought. Here's what my head was. When I heard when they were interviewing the coach, Coach Freeman, and it was like, "Well, Coach, you're underdogs in this game, and what do you feel like that about that?" And he said, "You know what? We're dogs. We go hunt. Dogs go and hunt." I'm like, "Oh shit." Ohio State in trouble, and they went down the first possession. I mean, just ran it down their throats and scored. I'm like, we might be in a game here. And then Ohio State really answered, and then they came back. I think Notre Dame scored in the first quarter, time possession. I'm like, okay, they're going to run the ball, time possession, keep those receivers off the field, keep that offense off the field. Ohio State came back 21 points in the second quarter to Notre Dame's 0 points. And then Ohio State just started running away from the game from there. And I felt like even when the momentum for Notre Dame picked up, it picked up too late for them to really kind of be in the game. Your thoughts on the game,
man?
Man. You said, phew.
Oh my God. All I know is Chip Kelly and Ryan Day, they drive people to have a heart attack, especially in that game. You go up, and it's like they just turn the car off. Oh, well, we're gonna wait till they come and catch us. Dude, let's keep driving. You're like, no, we're gonna turn the car off. We good, right? Oh, here they come. Car won't start. And you know, you're just like, so they drive, give you a heart attack because it's like, why not use the weapons?
Right.
Using that old philosophy of we're gonna get the lead and we're just gonna sit here and wait. Old school Big Ten football. No, that was impressive what Notre Dame did in the first drive. They left them with almost nothing in the first quarter to play with, but they ended up tying the game up. Ohio State it is. But I said from the beginning that a lot of people they got clowned about losing to Michigan and they're not gonna have the mental capability of coming back from that and they losers and all that stuff. And this was a determined group. And I said from the beginning that they had the talent to play with anybody in the country. Anybody. So you think about it from this standpoint, if we're looking from the outside looking in, that the teams that they beat, they didn't meet the number one team in Oregon. They beat the number 3 team in Texas. They beat the number 5 team in Notre Dame. And they beat the number 7 team in Tennessee. And they beat them all differently. But the one thing people didn't look at is we looked at the money as far as I'm talking about the wide receiver Jeremiah Smith, the offensive explosion, and a hell of an effort by the offensive line that was just makeshift after the injuries. And they played their butts off, and the offense played well too. But people forgot about the D. Mm-hmm. And the defense had its moments. They gave up a little bit more extra points against Notre Dame. But when they were ready, they went after the quarterback. And Tennessee's quarterback was running for his life, right? You went to Oregon, guy got sacked 8 times. They was hungry, man. They was like, we tired of this. And they ended up not giving up a lot. The defense did not give up a lot of points. Then you go to Texas and basically play Texas at Jerry Stadium at a home game, basically. You beat them. And then there was Notre Dame. And Notre Dame gave a hell of an effort, but it was just like this team collectively, offense and defense, were very talented. It was just mentally when they're going to finally show us who you really are. When they play up to that level, you can tell, you like, man, can't nobody beat them. And I'm not saying it because, as y'all can see, where I live and where I went to school, that it's just what it was. You could just tell, like, damn, they're on another level. They're on another level. And people like, I don't want to admit it, but they were like, well, and then at the end, which Ryan Day, y'all are wrong as hell for this. You game is tight. Notre Dame making all these runs. People holding on. Oh my God, we're gonna make it. And all of a sudden you go, we run the ball 2 times. We're gonna run it again a 3rd time. Nope. What? Like, what
I
doing that?
I admire that from him, that he didn't just, do Big Ten kind of traditional, like we're just gonna run the ball and whatever happens, happens. And speaking of Jeremiah Smith, I'm seeing that folks, some people are offering him $4.5 million to go to Porter. A brother like me will probably say, okay, you know what? It's been real. I got my natty. Let me get this bag, this 4.5 million. What are they saying in Columbus about this, man? Is he going to go? Is he going to stay? Let me be his financial advisor. Man.
Yeah, hey, somebody has some loyalty because they're also coming after Carnell Tate, number
Yes.
17. So he's been offered some cash. I think they said that allegedly teams like Texas and Oregon have been coming after him because I think Carnell Tate's girlfriend is attending Oregon.
Okay, I see.
And they're trying to get all that too. But this is how it works now. The representatives of the families, like Jeremiah Smith, have a representative. I don't know if it's his cousin, his daddy's uncle, or whatever, whoever. He has a representative, and his family has a representative, and it's like, oh man, whatever. And Jeremiah Smith people was like, we loyal to the end, bro. We cool. But think about it this way. You mentioned about the 4.5 offer, right? You can go somewhere. So right before the national championship game, Jeremiah Smith or somebody announced that he had an NIL deal, right? It was some kind of electronic deal or something, one of them handheld electronic deals or whatever. $3.1 million.
Oh, wow.
Just for that deal. And they had a commercial with him playing the game. And, hey, when I do this, I do this. Okay. So that's just the first one. He owns Columbus, Ohio, right? Nothing he can't have or want, whatever. And you mean to tell me you don't think he's going to, NIL deals are going to not grow? Right. I can only imagine. Think about it this way, that the majority of the players, like I think the running back Judkins had some kind of deal. So you mean to tell me you don't think Beats is going to try to connect with Jeremiah Smith so he can have headphones, everything possible, cars? Dude is the magnet. He's like the #1 receiver probably coming back. Imagine the opportunities. He's going to need a lawyer or an advisor just to tell him no. He don't want to be greedy, but he has to be very specific as what he wants to do and how he wants to be represented. So 4.5 is cool, but you're about to get everything you want in Columbus. You own Columbus.
That's true.
So you think about it this way too. I was telling my brother, and I ain't trying to say, I'm not going to give you no insight because I don't know nothing about it. I just heard, or this is what I think, okay? Just a pipe dream. So in the off season, not like I know this, but I'm just saying, off season, imagine NFL's not going on, right? Mm-hmm. And let's say he's in town, Jeremiah Smith has a partner going to school in the springtime. All of a sudden, you get a phone call and say, hey, why don't you come on over to the facility? CJ Stroud's in town. He want to know you want to throw some balls, right? Okay. Marvin Harrison Jr. is in town, right? Chris Carter's in here, wants to learn about some routes, how you run your routes. Garrett Wilson's in town.
Yeah.
So
I got you.
Think about that as far as the facility.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Ellis in town. All these dudes, dude, even the young boys, right? Olave's in town. You mean to tell me you don't think collectively? And I don't know nothing about the NCAA rules. I'm just allegedly talking off the top of my head. The opportunities through this program that you can have and learning on the job while you're still in college from some of the great talents in the league right now. You imagine what those 7-on-7s could look like, bro? I mean, and where else you gonna go to get that?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
At the position that they're trying to play a wide receiver. And your coach, your coordinator, your coach, wide receiver coach, play in the league too.
Yeah, that's true.
So all them dudes, Olave, Smith and Jenga, I mean, we can keep going on and on and on. Joey Galloway short one day, dude. David Boston might come out the woodwork. You never know. I mean, that's a lot of dudes, man. And you already been that thing as they say. And you gonna leave Columbus? Where you going? If you go down to Miami, you gotta wait on Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
It's a plethora of dudes here. You got everything you want. And when you come back, you the man. Where you going? I mean, what else is and I get out this quickly. Tell me what other programs can you go to where you got all this in front of you right now, and your coach loves you.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of the coach, he gotta be Michigan. He gotta throttle Michigan next year. Got to. Got the natty. I got you. His job is safe. But
is it?
Yeah,
is
I think it is. I think it is.
You sure?
Yeah. After this, I think because I said like before it started, I'm like they got it. They're not going to let him get out of there without a natty. It is Ohio State's to win, and they got to win it. They were the most dominant team coming in it. They proved it. He did it. Okay. So those who are saying that, oh, he didn't beat Michigan, please just get out the way. He'll beat Michigan next year. That's the goal next year. They'll do it next year. But
can he breathe now? Can he take a little breath?
I think he can breathe now. I really think he can breathe now. I felt that he needed this championship to be secure, and he did it. So, yeah. He earned 5 more years.
Y'all beat Michigan at least once, huh?
I beat Michigan just one time. One time. We're going to go to college basketball. And I was watching a lot of college basketball, and I fell asleep on a number of them, especially the West Coast. I fell asleep on the BYU team. They were doing really well. But there's some surprises. And I think when you see our NBA and NCAA basketball show, you'll see why we picked some of the teams that we picked in the Final Four, things of that sort. Because I mentioned in that show that I like Michigan State. And lo and behold, Michigan State is ranked 7th right now. You have Auburn, who's hanging in that number 1 spot. Had to watch Cooper Flagg with Duke the other day. You have Iowa State, who lost 2 games. They're going to play tonight at Arizona. You got Alabama, who's holding steady at 4. Florida, Houston, who went into overtime and beat Kansas. You got Tennessee out there, who fell a couple of spots. They're playing Kentucky tomorrow. And you got Marquette, number 9, and Purdue, number 10. Kansas, moved up 1 spot, but they moved up to the number 11 spot. Kentucky moved down 3 spots to the number 12 spot. And you mentioned this team, Texas A&M. The team that's surprising me that shouldn't be a surprise, I had a chance to watch them, is St. John's. And St. John's has moved up to 5 spots in number 15 position. They play Georgetown tomorrow. Your thoughts about and your eye test about college basketball, bro?
I know everybody's excited about St. John's because Pitino's winning, and it's St. John's and he's back in New York. Y'all need to hold y'all horse. Okay? Slow down. Not so fast, my friend. Anyway, slow down. Because they're a very good team. I'm happy for them because when St. John's is good, things are good in college basketball. But before we crown them, let's let them get a little bit more taste of what's going on during the season. You mentioned Auburn. Auburn is so filled with talent. They're big. They have good guards. They play D. You just wondering, is the coach going to get in their way? They had drama earlier in the season where they were fighting each other on the plane and they had to change planes to get to a game. So you just don't know. Are they going to self-destruct before you get to the tournament or during the tournament? They're a very talented bunch. Also, too, you got to look at Tennessee is playing a very tough schedule. Tennessee, I think if they, even though they've lost a few games, if they are able to, like you mentioned, they play Kentucky, if they can survive this and show that they can hang a little bit, like they end up playing Florida coming up soon too, they could be a team to reckon with because they have been through so many battles, and I think that can really help them as well. I told you Texas A&M trying to see whether or not they get their guard back Taylor,
Mm-hmm.
because they can really be a problem. And quiet as it's kept, Houston, number 6. Woo, buddy. Kansas is having a time though. They are having a time because
Yeah,
they're
they're
supposed to be.
struggling this year.
Yeah, and they have the people. They've got the transfers in. And it's almost like they're struggling with chemistry, and that's not normal for Bill Self. But then again, Bill Self will get them straight right before the end of the year. They're going to run. That's what Kansas does. You just never know. But it's an interest from that standpoint, and like Oregon. I watch Oregon. Oregon plays UCLA coming up soon. Oregon is another team that I mentioned to you guys that could be a problem. But overall, I like how things are going. It's shaping up really nice. Uh, I'm still gonna go with the teams down the line that have great guards, play defense, and got a little size to them. And that's what I'm gonna probably end up when we go make our picks. I'm gonna look to that. But that's key to basketball. Gotta have guards and a team that play defense. Like for instance, Purdue's a really good team, but they've had their struggles in and out. Ohio State beat them the other night, but Purdue will turn around and beat somebody else like a Kansas, and you don't even see it coming. So it's very difficult right now, but I like Michigan. I know you. Tom Izzo has them rolling over there too. They're good, but again, I told you, watch out for Michigan.
Yeah, yeah, and they're honorable mention in the
Yeah,
top 25. I'm really loving watching Cam Jones from Marquette. I really love and enjoy watching him play. There, just every year there are like a few players that just really stand out and they're like, this guy can really go. And I'm really liking Cam Jones at this particular point. Let's go to the NBA because I'm looking at the NBA, and one of the questions I have, because I can give you all the stats, but the Cleveland Cavaliers, who start out so hot, they're 36-9 right now. They're 5-5 in their last 10. And are they slowing down? Are they kind of coming back to earth now? Because now they're only maybe about 4.5 games ahead of the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics are making a run at this particular point. You got the Knicks making a run. You got Milwaukee trying to make a run. You get in the West, you have teams like OKC and Houston still, going. OKC still at 6.5 games ahead of Houston. You have, and also Memphis, they're 6.5 games above those teams. But the Nuggets trying to make a run. Your thoughts about the NBA? Because I'm looking at the Nuggets, Memphis, Houston. They are all 8-2 in their last 10, and OKC 7-3 in their last 10. It seems like those teams are saying, you know what? It's coming close to the All-Star break. We need to start making our run now to position ourselves really well in the playoffs. Your thoughts?
yeah. Let's start with Cleveland. 36-9 is not bad. I mean, consider where they started. And to be cooling off a little bit is not really a problem. As you said, they're still up by 5, right? On
Mm-hmm.
Boston. So you're gonna have lows, hot and cold lows, where you go up and down, and whether or not I think they are still built for this. I think they have a coach in Atkinson that's mentally tough. So when these things start to happen, or they get into these grooves where they're kind of maybe trends where they're going down, he's the type of guy that rah guy gets them fired up and get them going because he wants them to start to play a certain kind of way as they prepare for the postseason. So I think they're going to be fine. What I find interesting though is a couple of teams that are just right in the mix, surprisingly. And you seem like there's a couple of things they're missing. In the 5 slot in the East is Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wow, they're like in the 5 slot. And everyone said they could use another big man or another scorer, but they're in the 5th position. And of course, my surprise team, I've told y'all, you'll find out about this in the special. At number 6 is the Detroit Pistons, baby.
8-2 in the last 10.
Yeah, yeah, making noise. Making noise. I love them. I love the way they're playing right now. They have young guys, and I like to watch them play. Despite all the drama, Miami's in the 8th slot. Despite all the Jimmy Butler talk and all of the drama there, they're in the 8th slot. That's very interesting. Says a lot about their team, minus Jimmy Butler right now. In the West, OKC still waiting for Big Chet Holmgren to return. Once he comes back, I think this is going to be on fire. Houston is second, surprisingly. Memphis is third. And those, yeah. And for those that said Big Chet Edey was going to be soft, he started, bro. Big Edey is starting. It's like, wow. So I like the way that they're playing. They're learning that too, learning their way through. Denver's 4th. Lakers are 5th. Clippers are 6th. Say what you want about James Harden. He kept the ship steady until Kawhi came back. I think I watched the show the other night, a game, and James Harden had 18 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists. I was like, well, man, he can play when he wants to.
You know what? I'm not going to be fooled by regular season.
I know. But for as much as we dog him, you got to give him a little love when he's unselfish.
Show me the playoffs. I'll give you some love. Show me the playoffs. I've seen this before. I've seen it before. It doesn't matter. Regular season.
Yeah, I agree. But it's very interesting because with the trading deadline coming up like in the next week or so, I want to see if anybody's going to make any moves. Phoenix is doing all they can to try to gravitate and grab Jimmy Butler. But it's going to take a lot because one, Bradley Beal is going to be on the move and they're trying to find a place for him to land that he likes. Evidently, he doesn't like Milwaukee. He doesn't like anything that's not winning. They're trying to propose that maybe Chicago will take him on and he can go there. They get rid of Zach LaVine. But it's a lot up and down, and if that doesn't work, Phoenix has made a couple trades already. I think they ended up making a trade with Utah where they end up going from one number 1 first rounder, about 3 or 4 of them. So they're really working down inside. That will be interesting to see Jimmy Butler with Kevin Durant. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he's helping his cause. He's been suspended indefinitely recently, so I'm not sure if he's helping his cause at this particular point.
I'm with you, but here's the thing, and I said it before. Miami just trade him, man.
Trade him to who? Who would want him?
I mean, just figure it out. If you're not gonna play him and you say whatever, that's the other thing. Quit bringing him back then. Just keep him on indefinite suspension. Do what you gotta do, and I know you might have to go through the channels in regards to the negotiation as far as the contract is concerned. I get that, but quit messing up the chemistry. If he's not going to play, don't want to play, whatever that is between you guys, you're messing up the chemistry, and then everybody pointing fingers at one another.
Yeah.
If you're not going to play, figure it out. Tell him to pick up some towels or something, whatever, to get his money. I'm just saying, you're making it worse by either you in or he ain't playing hard enough.
Minute you out.
Yeah, come on, man. Figure it out.
All right, your quick hitter. I'll do my quick hitter first. Black's not here. What coach, NFL coach who was just hired, is going to make the biggest impact for their NFL team?
I want to say Pete Carroll on display.
I thought about it. I really did think about it. For stability of that team.
What the hell? Pete Carroll. And I'm going to tell you why. He's 79, whatever. He's 70-something years old. Nobody, and I'm serious, nobody expects him to do anything. But the one thing we know about Pete Carroll is, even at 70-something years old, he's always been able to connect with younger people.
Yeah.
And if you bring in some coordinators that really can get it, zero in on some things, he's not afraid to try trick plays, and he's on the cusp of something new. So you can bring somebody younger in, kind of work through some plays, get some things going. He's going to be all in. And if you find him a talent, I'm trying to remember who their quarterback is right now, but you find him a talent or something where, let's say, for instance, they get in a position to get another quarterback. he's crafty enough, I still think, that he can get somebody moving. And I think that's what the Raiders are missing. Okay, laugh and joke say he's too old. He is consistent. He has won. And I think he can still win in this league because there's so many people that either have bad talent, the teams are not prepared properly, and he can do that. He's been in the league, I mean, pretty much everywhere he's been in college and in pros, he's made a difference. So as much as we laugh about him being old, Brady ain't stupid, bro. Brady like he might have something. And here's the thing: who else does he bring with him?
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity. Who doesn't want to play in Las Vegas?
Yeah. And I feel that he will bring some stability to that organization that no other coaches. He's been there, done that, won Super Bowls, won championships, won playoff games. I think he can get the talent in there and really kind of solidify that team. I'm not going to say they're going to make the playoffs, but they'll look much better than they've looked in the last couple of years. Mine is Ben Johnson with the Bears, and here's why. Coming from that culture in Detroit, I think he learned a lot, and I don't think he's as much as a risk taker as Coach Campbell with kind of really coaching on his emotion. I think he'll bring a culture. I think he'll bring an offensive line, which the Bears need desperately. An offensive line who can pass block and also block for the run. So I love his enthusiasm. I love how he kind of approached the whole deal. You have players there sitting at his press conference, and he's coming in there, and hopefully he can back up all the talk that he's been talking. I remember Coach Campbell did the same thing, and look where Detroit is now. Not saying that the Bears are going to, be world beaters at next year because they got to get through Green Bay, they got to get through Minnesota, of course they got to get through Detroit. They're not going anywhere, but I think that they'll be able to contend in that division and make more of a count of themselves in that division with this particular coach, who is offensive minded. It's going to also determine on who they get as a defensive coordinator because they do have some talent on that defense. But offense, to me, that offensive line, ever since I've been here in 1989, has always been the weakness of the Bears, and they never address it. Hopefully, they'll address it this time.
I mean, yeah, I'm with you. That's awesome from that standpoint of how it goes, but it's wide open, man.
Yeah.
But again, Pete Carroll, nobody's gonna see that coming. And if the Raiders do start winning games, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
My quick hitter is I have kind of like a question. So a lot of stuff is going on in college football, a lot of movement. The defensive coordinator is now the former defensive coordinator at Ohio State. Jim Knowles has gone to Penn State. On to Penn State. Penn State initially lost their defensive coordinator to Clemson. So a lot of stuff are going on, a lot of movement. A lot of players have gone pro. Ohio State has a lot of holes to fill, so a lot of teams do too. Off of what you can know or understand right now, give me, this is just preseason, so it's not like they're going to win it all. But give me your preseason top 5 teams that you expect make a difference next year.
I think a lot of them are going to be in the Big Ten, to be honest. I think Oregon's going to come back stronger. Of course, Ohio State's going to come back stronger. Penn State, they needed a defensive coordinator because they need to get over the hump. And so I thought this was a good move for them. But I got to keep going with the Notre Dame. I got to give it to them. Coach Freeman got something going on there that's going to be it's going to be scary. How he motivated. Man, when he said, like I said earlier, when he said we're dogs, we're underdogs. No, we're dogs, and dogs hunt. I was like, put me in, coach. Give me a give me a series or two. Who you want me to hit? Because I'm like, can you imagine hearing that every day? These young men getting inspired by this guy every day. And with me, I've never been a fan of Notre Dame, but he makes you not hate Notre Dame at this particular point. I don't know what it is about him, but he makes you not hate them till you're like, okay, I'm gonna watch this Notre Dame game. And so I do expect them to get better. I wish that they would really kind of bite the bullet and say, you know what, we're gonna play in a conference. I really think that would help them, in these playoff games, playing these elite teams, playing in a conference with other elite teams, so that they know that they can kind of hang with them, because it seemed like when Ohio State raised it another level, Notre Dame couldn't raise it. They couldn't do it. And I think when you start playing better teams, and not to say that they don't play a lot of good teams, but you start playing teams on that level, you get to know, okay, this is what I need to do to win. This is how we need to practice. This is how I got to get better to win. And you can't do that at the last two games of the playoffs to kind of figure that out. You got to figure that out early in the season. Get your bumps, get your bruises. Ohio State lost to Michigan, and they learned from it, and they went on a tear. So I think that it would benefit, and I know the Notre Dame faithful, oh, we don't need that. Yes, you do. You need to play a conference. You need to play some stiffer competition to be ready for those playoffs when they come knocking at your door the next time. I think I gave you 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you one of my teams that I'm hoping they'll be better next year, Florida State, because they've been disappointing me for the last few years. So I'm going to throw Florida State in there.
What I find interesting is, like you said, throw all the teams out there. No, I don't think Notre Dame is going to join the conference until they have to, because they're greedy as far as the money is concerned. And as long as they keep getting decent amount of money without being in the conference, they don't have to share with another conference members. So they just bring in all the money. They have a big, look at their schedule. They have a big, the first game is really big. They play a good team. And after that, it's kind of easy.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So expect them to be around, definitely in the 12 next year. But, I mean, that's what's kind of hard right now. It's like, well, why shouldn't they make it up when they make all these moves, and the schedule just does not help. Of course, Ohio State, I think they'll be back around. We have you top-notch talent at wide receiver, and they'll have somebody at running back, and they're supposed to have a decent quarterback coming in, saying to replace that. Defense will be okay. I think they'll make noise because there's always going to be a background that wants to play, right, at Ohio State. So I think they're going to be fine there. The other team I would say, I throw Notre Dame in there because of their schedule. I think their schedule is going to be light. Oregon, because they have the money and the pieces, and they have quarterback coming in, transfer quarterback as usual. Just another one they slide in there with all of the money and all of the uniforms and everything. Probably going to do one extra one. I think Miami, because I think the quarterback from Georgia, Beck, is that his name?
Yes.
I think him going to Miami and him being healthy, he has something to prove. And I think they are so desperate to get over the hump that I think he can help them. But I think they think they're really good. And then they start to get lackadaisical. Like, there's no reason why they should have lost to Syracuse at the end. They cost you an opportunity. You thought you were in and you weren't. So I like Miami. Another real quick one I think might make some noise because they're due. And I think the coach was finally initially saying he's not doing it the way that everybody else wants to do it, but he's changing it up and he realized he has to make a difference. And that's Clemson.
Yeah.
I think Clemson's going to be around because everybody say what you want to. I think Clemson's going to make some noise because Dabo's not going to stay down for long and just be coaching just to get his check. He wants to win badly, particularly when we got a taste of it. And it's been a few years, so they went back in.
All right. Last second shot, man.
I could go a lot of places, but I got to give it up to The Ohio State University. I'm going to tell y'all something. Fellas, congratulations. You know, we got love in the OH10 here all day, the land of funk. You know how we do it. I'm so happy for your coach, but I'm also happy for the players. Simply because of the factor that after you lost to Michigan, everybody gave up on you. People in Columbus gave up on you. A lot of national people just knew, fire him now, all that other stuff. We said it earlier on the program, but y'all stayed tough. Y'all were strong-willed, and didn't give a damn about what they said. And guess what? Despite losing to the team up north, you brought home a natty. Yeah, I think what people are really pissed off about is the factor that you got back-to-back national champions from the Big Ten. And all the SEC backers and boosters. One of my friends down in Texas, there's no way a Big Ten team gonna beat 2 SEC teams to win the title. I know you watching. That's why I said it. You don't understand, bruh. It was 10 years in the making. I was at the last one in Texas when they won it. Didn't make it this time. but hopefully it won't be 10 more years. But again, OHIO. Congratulations, Buckeyes.
From the file of We Don't Rebuild, We Just Reload, check out Coach Prime's new quarterback replacing his son. They ain't rebuilding, folks. They reloading. This young man is a stud. We'll catch you next time. Later.